Hey there, this is Dolphin, and I am pissed. Several negative experiences have amassed lately, and my threshold has been exceeded, my tolerance, and I need to talk about some of that stuff. And the main topic lies a bit in the past, about 4 months, but that stuff isn't exactly invigorating, so I wasn't in the mood to talk about it back then. And I am now, because, as I said, things accumulate and are really bothering me, and I need to point some stuff out. So, those of you who have followed my Steam gaming activity might have noticed that I stopped playing Terraria a couple months ago. And it had several reasons, but like the nail in the coffin, the final decisive blow was the story that I will tell you now. I was being creatively active in the game, building interesting stuff and occasionally publishing it, that or videos I made in the Steam community feed for Terraria. And that became increasingly off-putting a bit because spam posting there and stuff like that. And I thought maybe there are other avenues I can also use, to publish my works. And then someone mentioned it, and like on the official Terraria forums, there's like an art competition, something like that. Every month you submit your best work so people can see it. And I thought, okay, that might be something nice, and wanted to try that out. And I don't register willy-nilly on internet forums, but I thought, okay, that's worth it. So I wanted to register, and one thing I noticed was that they were asking for a birth date. And this is unusual. I haven't had that in a long time, but okay. Probably age verification. And yeah, I entered that. They required it for the registration process. And yeah, registered, and what ensued was something that especially me as an IT guy annoyed greatly. But the best I can do is just open with showing you the conversation I had with WeLogic representatives. First an administrator, and then after that an actually guy from WeLogic. And there I already pretty much shown my case. And I read that to you, and then show you what's bothering me, and I will explain to you why this is a problem that come after that. First, get this. So, hi, I just registered and noticed a privacy flaw, one that I remember back from signing up with deviantART 2. I'll come to that later. When signing up, a user is required to state their birth date. But the default setting for that information in the user profile is to show it there. And even worse, combined with view your details on your profile page, all visitors. A birth date is a personal information that should not be shared with the whole world by default. Those standard settings need to be changed. Just a standard setting, but I mean, what the hell is going on there? This is like personal information. There are laws about this that businesses have to obey. So the administrator, I have no options to change these default settings for new registrations. Oh, he's the administrator for the form, Short of modifying the Zen4 code, yeah, I mean, it's ClearCheck's code, you can modify it. This is expected. Many admins are doing that, customizing the form. Short of modifying the Zen4 code, which I am not going to do. Okay, so there is a statement of will or not unwillingness. We have no way to verify anyone's age, so what? So anyone who is greatly concerned about that can put in whatever age they want, change their privacy settings, and then ask me to change their birth date if they wish. So this was a very off-putting statement. If you expect people to state a false birth date, also consider the young age of many Terraria players and the limit of legal awareness you can expect from them. To deal with privacy issues you don't want to fix, and they only become aware of afterwards, after registering and after that birth date has been publicized, that puts this in a different but no better light. Should altering form code be outside of what you are authorized to do, then relay this to those who are. Be aware that I have stated a valid privacy concern and your reaction is one of willful negligence. And not that I needed that for certainty, but I got a second opinion anyway, and had brief correspondence with the Electronic Frontier Foundation. And they confirmed, they said, yes, this is a valid privacy concern. And the Electronic Frontier Foundation, of course, they are dealing with very high profile cases and need the resources for that. And I will mention something about that later too. So then the administrator responded, if you don't approve of the security of this forum, then don't be here. I think your reaction to this non-issue is way out of line. Good day. What a fucknut. So much for caring about, you know, such things. So I posted that to an actual representative, an actual employee from WeLogic with the rank consigliere. Interesting naming choice, look it up. And posted this. I said, since the guy refused to relay or treat this even remotely like an IT professional, apparently I have to contact you directly for feedback on this. So here I quoted it, and this is the response from WeLogic. I'm not sure that I entirely see your concern here or the magnitude of the concern being stated. Members are quite and easily capable of changing the visibility of both their birth date and age in total, and to throttle permissions to read their profile at will. All of this can be done in under 30 seconds with a handful of clicks. Heck, we even have a user guide to tell them how. This user guide is actually PM to every single new account upon creation and initial login. It is literally the first alert they will receive upon joining, blah blah blah. So avoiding the point grand scale. As he noted, those defaults are hard-coded, this is web code, into the core XF software itself, a piece of form software widely used across the internet. Heck, most of this is pretty standard form in social media fare, really. So basically saying others are doing it too, so it must be right. There's no problem, you know? This is such a lame cop-out. If people are so concerned that something could be compromised in that 30-second time window, theoretically 30 seconds, I'm making my case because he is a bit slow in his head apparently. They could always state a fake birthday, yeah right, and then contact the staff to have it changed after they fiddled with their settings, precisely as TK noted. In the end, we, nor Xenforo, can code or legislate around members' unwillingness or inability to execute quick, easy, and common internet options. Oh, so they say Xenforo cannot code to change a default visibility settings towards respecting someone's privacy. What a bullshit. So much crap in their head there. If you feel this is a major issue, this is theirs to code if they so choose. You know, you're of course welcome to take your issue with the core software to the Xenforo creators themselves. Like, you know, we are using this forum software as a business, but you have to deal with our supplier of the product we are using that is flawed. So pretty much absent the user guide info shared above, TK had it dead on in both his perspective and proposed solution, thanks. So there you have a rock solid statement about their attitude towards this. Wow, it is mind-boggling how careless and oblivious people are these days with responsibility. No surprise that it is so difficult to protect private information. Then I will have to explain it all in all detail. And I will add to this later if this is not sufficient enough. If default settings are actually hard-coded into the forum software and not changeable in the usual way an admin would be expected to do, then that would be just as bad a sign for the forum software dev. But I'm quite sure there isn't really hard-coded because it is web code, clear text. It is expected to be customized where needed, especially in a case as trivial as default settings. Although the point stands, if this really came like this, default settings from the forum software supplier, that would be a problem too. And there might be a similar attitude from their side, but I haven't contacted them yet. Maybe in a follow-up. We'll see. You run a game forum with a player base that likely consists of many teens and preteens. You require them, so generally I'll explain. You require them to state their birth date upon account creation. What is the purpose of this in the first place? As age verification, it is surely not needed in a form that claims to maintain child-friendly level contact. If it is not needed, then that requirement needs to be removed anywhere. And besides, if they advise people to state a wrong date, that basically means they encourage people to circumvent their age control. You know, if they say the forum should not be frequented by people under a certain age, but you should state a wrong birthday if you like, speaks for itself. Okay, such play, likely consists of many kids without proper legal understanding or care. It is a group that for that reason, for their lack of experience, falls under special safeguards. And from those plus all others, you require that they state their full birth date, and then you immediately make it public to the open internet, so that it could, for example, be data mined from the newest members list and used in dataset building, profiling and such. Information sold and pester you or do worse stuff with that, you know. Again, building a complete record about you. And post a long guide that you cannot just expect everybody to read and then go through all their settings. I do that because I'm an IT guy, and you cannot expect this from all IT guys. But I am conscious about such standards, you know. But most people are as uncaring about such things as you show to be in this matter. This is not necessarily meant negatively towards the users. You're a user, you register in the game forum, and because you want to post something, you know, like, yeah, there's an inbox, hello, welcome, and a guide and some stuff. You usually look at your options when you need it, when something doesn't work the way it should, you know. You like the default options are usually quite all right. So yeah, I mentioned that in a moment. The user guide you are referring to is a mere manual, little more than the self-explanatory character of the config pages themselves, and with no mention that certain data might be worth not revealing, which we initially give people no choice about. And on top of that, the argument to just enter an invalid one or have it changed to one or to set it private is quite brazen, especially considering it doesn't hold in light of the info that is shown on the settings pages. Quote, once your birthday has been entered, it cannot be changed. Please contact an administrator if it is incorrect. Quote end. This further emphasizing a perceived importance that the date be right, to make sure of it, and even if accidentally entered a wrong one, to have an admin correct that. So not only does the user guide, the first information, not even talk about that it needs to be set to private first if so desired, but people are even encouraged to pretty much the opposite. Furthermore, a basic understanding of the internet and its risks should be expected from people who run an internet forum and handle people's personal data. By now it is in the common, but apparently not common enough, awareness that once you put something on the internet, it can be extremely difficult to remove it again. Once something has been made public once, there is no guarantee that this can be reverted. That is another reason why this requires certain standards. Standards and responsibilities that are also expressed in laws, by the way. Another required understanding of the internet and even beyond that sphere is the meaning of opt-out versus opt-in and its purpose and ramifications. So over the time, the forum has been run like this. You have coerced possibly up to 52,000 people to publicly reveal personal information, at least for some time, without giving them a choice over it, and failed to show the slightest interest in making people aware of that fact, despite claiming you don't deliberately have it work that way. You expect every single user to show an exceptional diligence, which is the opposite of what you are showing. You are applying severe double standards. Based on all this, one can make an educated guess how many forum users have a correct birth date stated and how many of them would not have their birth date set to public if it had been set to private by default. I did a quick browse and practically everybody has their birth date set publicly there, so wonderful for data mining. If you now understand the severity of the situation, you can resolve the problem, better late than never. Otherwise, as I pointed out to the admin, this constitutes willful negligence. Especially considering that you even suggest I should talk to the developer of the flawed forum software that you are running your website with. so that you don't have to move a finger. What happens on your website is your responsibility. So the response to that was, this is mostly just blah blah and more avoidance and not acknowledging the point. It isn't going to change unless you want to convince them forward to do so. Kindly do not twist my words. Huh? What twisting words? This is an issue that they personally seem quite riled up about to us. This is a massive mountain out of a molehill moment you have concocted here. This has been in place not only here for quite some time, but also at TO prior to TCF's existence, and with no one single actual issue of the kind you are purporting here, like he would know. And that doesn't cover the likely thousands and thousands of other sites running the same software. Others are doing it too, so it must be right, you know? Either you are the one single person out there in the world that sees this massive issue, or you're blowing it way off proportions. How about I care? And this is, yeah, I presented my point. No one is coerced here to do anything other than to verify that they are at least 13 years of age. Bullshit. It's just, you know, no, not true, just ignoring. Bullshit. If people choose to lie or whatever, that is their choice. We have no way to confirm or refute anyone's age, as if that is the point. Any more than at the other websites that people are also given really simple tools to hide whatever they want from anyone they want, including their entire profile, should they so choose. Heck, they even required to even make an account to read most of the content. Anything and everything is voluntary, and the users, no one, not us and not anyone, can protect everyone from everything. There comes the extremism again, like we cannot be perfect, so we shouldn't do anything, you know, not make any effort. Not in the real world, and certainly not online. Yeah, one should be aware that the real world is, there's people you're dealing with. It's like people saying when you're playing a game, online game, the other players are not real people. I've been on the internet regularly since 1995. I'm well aware of how it works. Yeah, a series of tubes, I guess. Even if I am not an IT guy, we are talking about user-entered birthdays. We are not collecting photos and home address and SSN or something else. See, so the value judgment, like some personal information we consider more worthy protecting than others. And we choose that birthday, this is unimportant, you know? In short, if this is such a critically important thing to you, feel free to contact XFDevs and seek a change. We do not feel it rises to the level of things that you purport, not even close. I'm not really sure what else to tell you. Yeah, what a fucknut. This is the attitude that you find, you know, whenever you are angered by the crap that's going on in the world, you know, like take politics. Corrupt politicians. This is a kind of shitty attitude, only caring about your own stuff, and this has popular support. This comes as a silent grassroots movement. Because people, you know, there's a good law, good regulations that benefit the common good, but this is effort, and I don't think this is worth dealing with, you know. This is unimportant. Yeah, this is what people tell themselves if they're lazy fucks who only care about their own stuff. And that is what politicians do, and they are the voted representatives of people who are acting just like that. You know, I could talk about the recent, you know, the presidential elections in the USA. If you're questioning, couldn't we do any better than the two choices, you know, people are annoyed by anyone, you know, Donald Trump has some serious flaws too, some good, but he says some shocking things like, you know, death penalty for whistleblowers like Edward Snowden. Can we do any better? No, of course not. Not under these conditions, with such a broad support for a shitty attitude like that. And so don't expect things to get better unless you start caring. A business caring about the safeguarding of the personal information that they have a responsibility dealing with. You have to understand, there are laws that require businesses to even establish safeguards to make sure a hacker cannot steal the personal information they collect. And here is real logic, publicly, openly showing it there, putting it out there. You know, this is willful. This is also, this is like legally relevant. They're saying we don't care, you know. They are running a business and an internet forum and not acknowledging the responsibilities they have. And refusing personal responsibility is the plague that is responsible for such shit in the world, you know. And things are difficult when politicians are not doing a good job. This is just attitude. You find it everywhere, ordinary people, widespread. And I see that in the feedback I sometimes get when I talk about these issues. It's all an alliance of convenience. Yeah, so here, this is the guide. In the guide, you see here, the guide shows the default state. This is ticked and this is ticked. Here's the privacy side, here shown again, here ticked and ticked, you know. And yeah, this is the default state as it were in the beginning. And here you see, once your birthday has been entered, it cannot be changed. Please contact an administrator if it is incorrect. There it is, and they're ticked by default. So I had to untick it, but you have to get there first. And yeah, and now I show you another thing related, because deviantART is guilty of this too. I registered several years ago, and they did the same crap mostly. I don't remember whether they published the full birthday or removed the year, but now I checked. I wrote them and never got a reply. And now they changed a little thing that makes the whole situation even more absurd. So I created a temporary email address and tested it myself, since communicating was extremely difficult, especially with an armada of total brainless idiots trying to, like, you know, as if their existence was threatened, you know. I was asking an innocent question and then, no, this is not an issue, and shut up, and how are you? So, no, total scum. Yeah, so this is registration process, and here you cannot register when you try without entering this. Please enter your date of birth, please pick your sex. You have to enter these data here, you know? Yeah, so you do that. I enter some, and then this is the next step of the process, like this, where you can verify it, no, not yet, and then comes the next window, and here, real name. And yeah, might state your real name, you can already wait. And there's a question mark, this is good. And the question mark says, your name will be publicly visible on the profile page. Okay, so we have no means to hide it, not the real name, but you could say there's no reason for stating your real name if you don't want it shown publicly. Okay, this is okay. There's this, another point, that, you know, side point that I noticed, that even if I left the location field here as undefined, it would still automatically enter the country you are in and make it publicly visible. So that was the next step here. Okay, and then here's the settings page. And there's a sex that I've entered, show, you know, because this, of course, is not something you might not want to reveal to everybody publicly, you know, whether you're a man or woman or something else, you know. Yeah, this is, put it on show first, you know. Date of birth, and here it is, show only month and day publicly. So at least they are not showing the year, but the point is they're still showing your day and month of birth. Why are they doing that? This is the default setting again, and the outrageous thing comes in a moment. Here, what are the benefits to displaying my birth date? You can click on that. Okay, this was about here, yeah, unspecified, and it will, you cannot undo it. It will still fill it out. Yeah, so I clicked on this, what are the benefits? And here, showing your birthday lets you help you and your watchers celebrate birthday fun on deviantART and allows to provide you with other promotional benefits. Birthday information might be used for special birthday discounts, inclusion in a deviantART directory, or for cake badges, among other things. All really important stuff. The display settings can be edited at any time once your registration is complete. And here the line that I remember not being there when I registered back then. Please be cautious about displaying your personal information, particularly if you are under the age of 21. So what they are doing here is expressing their awareness of the importance of safeguarding your personal information. And what this line basically constitutes is they are warning you about their own practice. Because they even, when you read this, it gives you even more reason to expect them to care and to protect your personal information. And then they still publish part of it without asking you your sex and your day and month of birth. They have the audacity to write this and then make it publicly by default until you choose it and hide it. This is the fucked up situation. And just like real logic, many are doing. Yeah, this is even worse. That someone has to say, here, this is not all right, and insist that something is being done. But this is effort, and they're doing all other kind of fancy crap on their website. But little things, I mean, this is so absurd, the real logic. It is a default setting. Have a check mark there or don't have it there. And all in your settings, some settings have a check mark there and some don't have it there. And they are telling me that making sure that these check marks are not set on account registration, that is too much to ask just to protect personal information of their customers. This fucking crap. And I'm so sick of this attitude and this all the shit you have to deal with. This all originates from this shitty attitude of I only care about my own stuff and this is too inconvenient and I don't have responsibility. This is George W. Bush said too. He violated the Constitution and said, I don't think we did. So easy to bullshit yourself like that. And yeah, I had to speak my mind about that. And then understandably, I'm totally not in the mood to play Terraria anymore after that. And this line, this is absurd, really, Like, how half-assed can you be? Like, oh, after some years, we finally managed to write this one sentence there. But yeah, we don't really understand the principle behind it. Oh, we should hide that, but we don't want to, This is valuable business information. This is saying crap like Twitter wants everybody to be connected to everybody. We want this data flowing and everything. That's probably the driving motivation behind it. They say, secretly they think, yeah, but if we set it private by default, who would make it public? Only a handful, and that is not in our business interests. And that's behind that, Yeah. And this, as I said, this is 4 months ago, but dealing with this crap. But some other stuff happened with World of Warcraft that I will stop playing World of Warcraft now too, because some things that are existing like this for years and years and nothing is being done when it would be so simple, that's just pissing me off. And I'm not paying for an entertainment service. I might make a separate video about that. But that is so much for that. There you see how all this mindset that eventually leads to growing crime, to corruption in politics and all that, how that has popular support, and it will be an avalanche, and people can say they don't care, and then once they are affected themselves in some, then they can scream. But that this is just caring about yourself. Start caring about others and acknowledging your responsibilities. And that is that. I'm signing out for now. This was Dolphin. Have fun anyway, if you can, but take care of the responsibilities first.